Hey everybody, it's Richard. It's good to see you. I hope everyone's safe and well today. I wanted to just introduce a piece of work and a concept that I called a decision matrix. So this is about further exploring and understanding the relationship that you might be having with drugs, alcohol, or some other addictive behaviour. So what this is about looking at there's four sides to every argument. Yeah. So most people we look at like there's two sides to an argument. Things are good or bad, right or wrong. That can come into the addiction world a lot because often there'll be that kind of setup where you might end up using or drinking, taking some cocaine or drinking too much alcohol, and that seems like a bad thing to do. And the idea is that stopping would be a good thing to do. Now, whilst there might very well be some truth in that, when we only look at those two sides of the argument, then what happens is we're setting ourselves up for a cycle of guilt and shame, remorse, regret, self-criticism, and so on. Yeah, because it's like, well, if doing this substance or behaviour is bad and stopping would be good, why do I keep making the bad choice? Why do I keep making the wrong choice? And then that can lead to kind of a spiral where you start to think, oh, actually there's something wrong with me, I must be a bad person, obviously I don't care about my job, wife, husband, loved ones, children, responsibilities, parents, whatever it might be. Yeah, so the whole kind of like gamut of what gets impacted by addiction. Yeah. Now there is, something very important about accepting and really acknowledging that, those impacts that we're having on other people. But usually by the time I meet people professionally, they've kind of got an idea of that. Yeah, like if they haven't become aware of it for themselves, and probably someone or a group of people close to them have been telling them that for quite a while. Yeah, that what you're doing is bad, and what you need to do is make the good choice. What you're doing is wrong, and what you need to do is make the right choice, i.e. stop or change your behaviour in some way. So what I want to do today is show you a little technique that can help shed a little bit more light on what goes on in the course of an addiction or a problematic relationship with drugs or alcohol or some other behaviour, and that we get into that by looking at the decision matrix. Yeah, so the decision matrix looks a little bit like this. It's quite simple. I'm just going to sketch it out in my notepad here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what's involved. So that is a decision matrix. So this shows us the four sides that there is to this particular argument. Yeah, so that might be, let's say it's like using cocaine. Yeah, so there are good things and bad things. About stopping and continuing. Yeah, so the good things about stopping, yeah, usually someone's probably been telling you that for quite a while. Yeah, so it's like, or you've realised it yourself. Yeah, so like if I stop, I'm going to have more money. Yeah, I'm going to be more present. I'm not going to feel like like crap like on the morning after. I'm going to stop missing work, I'm going to stop upsetting my loved ones, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's usually, people have some kind of awareness of that. Yeah, and the bad things about continuing, I've never got enough money, I'm in debt, I'm not paying my credit card bills, like my spouse or partner is very angry with me, my kids are upset, I'm in trouble at work. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so we've got the good things about stopping and the bad things about continuing. So we've covered those things. Now, as I say, looking at those things is not without merit. Yeah, sometimes we really need to do that. We need to have a good long hard look at our addiction, our behaviour in its face, and make a decision about how that lines up with our values or who we want to be or what direction we want our life to be going in. Yeah, but then actually let's look at the other two sides of the argument. What are the bad things about stopping? So for some people, the bad things about stopping, so now we're up here. Yeah, the bad things about stopping might include not having something to take the edge off a difficult week at work. Yeah, not feeling that sense of connection to the people that you're using with. Your whole social life might be based around that. Yeah, not having something to look forward to. yeah, not having that thrill, that excitement, that, you know, that buzz, yeah. Um, and it's important to acknowledge those. I'll talk a little bit more about why later on, yeah. The good things about continuing, you know, might include, so now we're down here, yeah, might include down here. The good things about continuing might include, like, actually, like, not having to look at the consequences, yeah, not having to deal with the difficult thoughts or feelings that are being masked by the drug, you know, not having to face up, to have difficult conversations, you know, really acknowledge that actually, like, this is an addiction, you know, that you have an addiction problem, yeah, not having to feel that shame, yeah. So the importance of looking at all four sides of the argument, right, beyond the original two sides, you know, so beyond the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, right. It's like if you can understand the bad things about stopping, then you can find other ways to manage it, yeah. If you're worried about being lonely because all of your friends are, you know, your whole social circle's built around using, you know, that particular substance, yeah, then one of the things that you'll need to work on is like, okay, so how else can you get that kind of sense of social connection, which we all need, yeah. You know, what friendships are going to have to perhaps go, but which ones can stay, what kind of boundaries might be set, yeah. Where else can I meet people who've got, you know, similar goals and values to where I want to be going in my life now, yeah. Those are the kind of questions that you might want to ask yourself, yeah. You know, if it's like, if there's no, you know, that's the thing that's been looked forward to, you know, like that, you know, what would I have to look forward to if it wasn't that, you know, whatever, like Friday night. And it's like, well, okay, there's a whole world of things that, you know, are out there that you can look forward to and enjoy, yeah, that aren't related to drugs. Let's have a think about what some of them might be for you, yeah. Because it, you know, if you've got to this stage and you're watching this video, then I would hazard a guess that probably the drug's causing some kind of issue in your life, yeah, the substance, whatever, right, it's causing some kind of issue in your life, and, you know, it's time to make a change. But, like, you're still going to need something to look forward to, because actually, if you don't replace that, if you then have nothing to look forward to and your life begins to feel like monotonous and drab and dull, and you haven't identified other things you enjoy, then actually it's much easier to return to the problematic substance use. So it's finding other coping skills, resources, activities, pastimes, relationships, connections that can fill that hole that's going to be left by the substance. Yeah. You know, if we look at finally, if we look at that, like, good things about continuing, it's like, okay, like, people often feel very ashamed, you know, having to admit there's an addiction. There's work that can be done around that, you know. There's groups that you can engage with, right, where through the power of connection and identification, actually that shame can be reduced, yeah. You know, looking at all, you know, you might have to stop and really look at and feel the consequences of addiction. It might be that there's a lot of debt that's built up, you know, but it's like, okay, what kind of resources can you tap into to help you with that, yeah. How can, you know, if all of that seems so overwhelming, like, you know, how can you break that down into bite-sized chunks that you can deal with, yeah, sorting through, you know, the carnage that can get left behind in the course of an addiction. So looking at all four sides of these arguments is really important, yeah. Because it gives us data, it helps us understand what's going on, it helps us understand what the addiction is doing for us, not just to us, you know, that's really important, yeah. It helps us find alternative coping skills, you know, it sheds so much light on what's going on, and it can, apart from anything else, it can help move away from that idea that, like, the behaviour's bad or wrong, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of what's happening in the course of your using, drinking, drugging, other addictive behaviour might not be okay, but let's have a look at why you're doing it. Let's try and understand that, rather than just judging it and moralising against it and shaming it, because it's very difficult to change anything when it's wrapped up in a great big ball of shame. So I hope that's been helpful. There'll be more content to follow. There's other links on the page where you can access different kinds of support. Yeah, thanks for coming on the site, and take good care. Bye.